how's it going? My name is Mackenzie, welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. The intro was different. Did you like it? I don't know who I took it from because I'm not unique. Today, we're doing a wrap-up, and today is a filming day, so I'm just gonna go with the energy that I have and take it from there. That's why the intro is different. Hope you don't mind. For whatever reason this month, I decided to not listen to a single audiobook at all. And that hindered my reading. Also, we opened our preschool, and so there was a lot of long days and me coming home extremely zonked and having no brain power to read. So not a lot of reading got done. I did, however, finish one book, Amari, that I didn't finish last month, and the last book that I finished, I technically finished on October 2nd, but I'm gonna count it for September because that's what I'm doing, okay? That's what we do. I didn't write down any of the stats, and since we already sat down to film, I'm not going to take the time to go figure it out. So, Editing Mackenzie is going to pop on the screen how many pages I read. I know I read 6 books. I don't know how many genres, maybe like 3? Let's guess 3, maybe 4. Okay? Alright, so as always, we are going to go over the books in the order in which I finished them. So some of them I picked up before others, but I didn't finish them first. So we're just gonna go in that order. Oh, yeah, I gave all 6 of these books varying 4 stars. So I use the CAWPILE system, and so there's maths involved. So each of them has like a distinct number, like a number with a decimal point, place value that gave them their 4-star situation. So all of them are 4 stars in a varying sense. I enjoyed them all, and I will reiterate that all of my books that I read will typically get between 3.5 to 5 stars because I only read books that I will enjoy. If I think I'm not going to enjoy it, I will DNF it and or will not ever pick it up.
If I don't love it, I don't swallow.
That's also why I don't get people who hate read. Like, why are you gonna do a whole video hate reading something just to bring other people down? Like, you didn't enjoy it, I didn't enjoy watching you not enjoy this book. I don't know. Anyway, My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. First of all, I want to commend Grady Hendrix and all of his books and his publisher. They're so cool. This is supposed to look like a VHS tape, and it totally does. It's so cool. I saw the one for Horror Store, and it looks like an IKEA manual. I saw the one for, the one with the band, and it looks like a Rolling Stones magazine. So cool. I really enjoy the cover. I enjoyed the story of this. There were some problematic things that I felt like were brought up for no reason. Like, why does this have to take place in the 80s? Aside from the fact that they're still leaning heavily on, like, sexist bullshit and, like, straight up racism. Like, there's explicit commentary in here about, like, classism and that kind of stuff, but when it comes to race and racially charged issues that it brings up, it just kind of glazes over those instead of sitting there and breaking it down and being like, ugh, like they do with the classist issues. Like, there are full-on paragraphs where Grady Hendrix will go on and on about how these rich people just don't care and the poor people, you know, are ignored. But when it comes to race, he's just like, yep, there's a slave day as part of their spirit week. The fuck? No. No, that's not okay. The whole situation and the part of the story that he wanted to tell, the actual plot point that required it to be slave day, didn't need it to be slave day. None of that needed to happen. His plot point could still have happened without the necessity of slave day. And it's very jarring to read it. It's not fun, it's not funny, it's not cute, it's not even like we get the Stephen King situation where he did write this in the 80s. No, he did not. He wrote this in 2016 and got away with it. I did not like that. I also did not like, there's a lot of things that like affected, for as much as Grady Hendrix likes to make his main characters teenage girls, there's not a lot of like commentary on the hardships that they kind of have to go through. Like eating disorders are just glazed over as well, and like the sexist behavior of people and men. None of these women care to change it. They enjoy it. There was just kind of a lot in here that like did not need to happen, and it's like I feel like we're writing this just so the author can. Like, we just had it set in the 80s so we can write about all of this racist, sexist bullshit and put it in our book. Here it is. And it's like, I'm not here for that anymore. I am tired of the horror setting in the 80s. Like, give me a different time period. Make it different. Like, we're doing social horror nowadays that's taking place in the present, and it's horrific because it's taking place in the present and we're talking about it. We're not just glazing over it and having it as part of some background story. The part about the exorcism and the friendship, I did really enjoy. I feel like, for whatever reason, Grady Hendrix has a really good hold on, like, what female friendships are like. And I feel like in this one and in Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, those female friendships really, they feel real. And, like, the strain that they go through is real. I feel like he understands that well. I just don't like the setting and everything else that's happening around it. I felt like it was really sweet the way the exorcism took place, because a lot of exorcisms and a lot of exorcism stories are like this family or these people who aren't religious, but they become religious in order to have the exorcism. And like that just, it doesn't make sense in real life, and it also doesn't make sense in the way that God calls people to him. They don't want to force people to believe in God. So I just really enjoyed how their exorcism was much more about bringing this girl back to life and relying on like her humanity. So this was definitely a low 4 stars, but it was for sure a 4-star. I really enjoyed the atmosphere and the scary. The scary was good, and the constant dread, because like you kind of see what's happening, and you just have to wait for not only the characters to figure out what's happening, but also for them to do something about it. And like, it's rough. So I don't know how much I recommend it, because I don't really want anyone to read this and then be triggered by what Grady Hendrix says and then get upset with me. So I'm not going to recommend it. I'm just going to let you know that I read it. It's definitely not a favorite, but I do love the cover. There you go. Then I finished Amari and the Night Brothers. It was really good. So I enjoyed this, but I feel like not as much as people told me I would, and it was a little bit disappointing in that aspect. Like, I don't necessarily mind that we are returning to this narrative of the only student of color in an all white, all rich, all classist, racist kind of situation. I don't necessarily mind that, but what I do mind is the fact that Amari, who has been in that situation before in real life, that when she gets put in this situation in the fantastical world, it's like she's never had this situation happen to her before. She's not making the connection that I want her to make, and I don't know, I feel like the next step was missed. Don't get me wrong, this book was a very, very fun. I loved the adventure. I loved the story that was happening. I loved the twists and turns. I loved that it didn't seem to take too much of a lull to get things going, nor was it a lull in between adventurous things. I'm gonna be very frankly honest that I don't like that it's like basically a police force. I just don't care for that kind of thing. But I'm trying to lean into more of like, make it feel like Men in Black kind of situation. And I hope that it feels more like that in the next books, as opposed to just like straight up police, because that's what it feels like at this point. But I really did enjoy it. I really liked it. I can't wait for the next book. I think I watched too many YouTube videos and YouTubers recommending this to me and getting so hyped about it. I enjoyed it for sure, but I don't know if it was as flawless as people are saying it is. Please don't fillet me. Next, we're getting into my buddy reads of the month. So with my coworkers, we were reading the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. So I did not plan on reading this series for a long time until this buddy read started. So I'm reading with two of my coworkers. This was so good. So I know this was Sarah J. Maas's first series, right? And this is the one that she wrote while she was in high school. And I feel like you can kind of tell, not in the sense that it was bad, but in the sense that it was so good. The writing is so amazing. The understanding she has of sentence structure and how to create a very captivating story and compel you to keep reading, that's an art to do, and you do that by picking specific sentences and constructing your paragraphs in such a way and your chapters in such a way. I felt like each chapter had a beginning, a middle, and end. I felt like they were important in each specific way. They added something to the plot. Like, you could pick out specific chapters, like we all know chapter 55 is the chapter, right, in Akamath. But I don't feel like you can do that in Crescent City, where you can pick out, like, yeah, this is the chapter where this thing happens, and this is the chapter where this happens. But in Throne of Glass, you can definitively do that. I enjoy this story very much. I feel like this is such a human story for, like, all of the magical stuff that she's done. I really enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it, actually. I enjoy the slow burn. Oh my gosh, the slow burn of, like, enemies to lovers to, like, because it's enemies to reluctant friends to friends, and that's where we left it at the end of this book. And I just freaking love it. And I see what people meant when like, obviously Sarah J. Maas follows a pattern. I'm seeing it now. Like, it's a girl, and then there's two guys, and she's with one guy for a little bit, and then she switches guys, and now I'm just a little bit sad about Crescent City 2, because, like, I really liked Hunt. I really do. And I don't want him to be switched out. So anyway, Throne of Glass. Very exciting, very good. This series has been talked about to death. I don't think I need to tell you anything about it, right? Have I told you the plot of any of these books? I don't do that, do I? I just sit here and tell you things and vibes. Man, well, let's go back real quick. My Best Friend's Exorcism takes place in the 80s. It's about two girls who are really close friends. They're part of a friend group of 4, and one of them gets possessed. And the other best friend has to not only fight against the other 2 of their friend group, but also the rest of the world, and try to get her friend the exorcism she needs. Amari and the Night Brothers is about Amari, who basically gets called away to a magical school, and they are, God, what is it called? Is the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs. See, that's why I feel like it's the police station. They are humans who deal with supernatural things, and they try to keep supernatural things from leaking out into the world. Also, she's looking for her brother Quentin, and she thinks that by joining the Bureau, she'll be able to find him. Okay, and then Throne of Glass is about Selena, who is an assassin who was, at the beginning of this book, enslaved in a camp for being an assassin, and she has been chosen by the prince to compete in this game to become the king's champion, who will basically be his assassin. And then my second buddy read of the month was Children of Dune by Frank Herbert. Me and my husband are, we are buddy reading the Dune books, and we had originally intended to do videos for each of these books, but now this is the third book in the Dune series. And we were planning to, but what happened was we ended up not doing the video for book 2. We ended up reading book 3, and now we're at the end of book 3, and we just don't know if it's like even wise of us to pick up these videos, especially now that everyone is hate reading Dune under the guise of doing like a read along. I'll just be over here, I'll enjoy my Dune over here, and y'all can hate Dune over there, and that's fine. I don't know why you're hate reading something, but do what you want with the limited free time we all have on this planet. I very much enjoy Dune. I don't understand my feelings. I don't know why I care about these people. They're all bad guys. They're all bad guys, and if they're not a bad guy in this book, they're gonna be the bad guy in the next book. That's just how it goes. I am in love with this world, with sci-fi, with all of these tropes that are happening. I'm in love with the fact that I'm always surprised, and I'm not getting used to it. I can't even explain to you what happens in this book. So this is book 3 of a 6-book series. It feels like it because it feels like it has wrapped up, you know, the first half of this series and also is getting us started for the next half. This one is probably the end of, like, if you know anything about how do I explain to you the plot of a book 3 in 6-book series, like what do I even say? In book 1 there's Paul Atreides, and he's the main character, and we're now in book 3 and it's called Children of Dune. Can you make some assumptions? If you don't, I'm not going to spell it out for you. It's good. I can't explain anything. I'm really enjoying that Dune feels like everyone's playing 3D chess, and they're all really good at it, but only one person's gonna win the championship. And like, that's what it feels like. It's so, like, there's so much thought that went behind it, and I feel like that's what I really enjoy about books, fantasy and sci-fi. When it gets really into the world building, you really understand how much a person had to think out their world in order to explain it to you, but also to keep you in the dark for most of the storyline until they're ready for you to be in the know. It is so good. The writing is amazing. I continue to enjoy and gobble them up, and honestly, I do recommend the audiobook because it gets a little bit tiring. Like, it's a slow burn political intrigue type of book. There's not a lot that happens. That's why they make these kind of like TV shows typically. Like, they're not gonna write a book about Mary Queen of Scots. They made that whole TV show on the CW called Reign, and we all ate that shit up. This is like that, but in book form. And if you don't like reading it in book form, like, who am I to tell you to force you to do so? I understand. But I gobbled this up. It was so good. It was so good. And I can't wait for the next one. I already have it over there. Then I finished Desperate Measures because I was able to finish this in a single night because it was so good. Oh my god. I think I did a whole little video on this already. So if you haven't seen it and you want to see me watch both the Aladdin movies and then talk about this book for a little bit, I will link that video up in the cards. However, what do I say about this? Aside from, it's great. And I guess I created that video as my own sort of reaction to people who were like, hate reading these smut books. So I really enjoyed it. I am going to read more from Katie Robert, and I think that's all I want to say because I did talk more about it in my other video. And the last book that I finished, oh man, is so many books this month. I can't even believe it. I can't need a break. Last book that I finished this month was Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This book was very interesting. and sad. This is a noir, and if you don't know noir, they're sad. They're not happy. It's not a good time. It's not a happy ending. It's very, very sad. I enjoyed it immensely, but it was sad. This book took me forever to read because I could only read it in short bursts because of how, like, not bad it was. It was just sad, and like you could tell as you were reading it that you weren't going to get a happy ending for these characters, and I just wanted to prolong the inevitable. So this is about a Mexico City that is somewhat in the future, and there are vampires. And humans have known about vampires since the 1970s, and they have reacted to them in that way. Vampires are hunted, they're pushed to the brinks of civilization, and we're kind of in this world where there are sanitation workers that are after vampires, but also humans who are infected. There's this disease called Crohn's disease that people are susceptible to, and yeah. So we follow Domingo, who is a human trash collector in Mexico City, and he meets Adel, who is a vampire who is moving through Mexico City trying to run away from her past. 4 different perspectives, and you're following Domingo and Adel, and you're following a human police officer, and you're also following some other vampires who are connected to Adel. And it's very creepy, it's very sad, it's depressing, it's like Blade Runner, but with vampires. And I mean, I feel like it was kind of perfect leading into October with this because it's just sad and depressing, like, but also very cool. So with this, I feel like I have read 4 Moreno Garcias. She continues to be peak. So there are 3 books of hers that I haven't read yet. Velvet Was the Night, which just came out, which I'm waiting for in paperback. Untamed Shore and Signal to Noise, which I haven't seen in physical copies yet. So, I don't know what I was going with that. I love Silvia Moreno Garcia. I'll continue to read her. I'm just out of paperback copies, so. All right. 6 books this month. They were all 4 stars. I enjoyed them all immensely. Look at me holding up my tiny little pack. Has this been like the worst reading month ever? Editing McKinsey. You know the statistics. Was this the worst reading month ever? Let me know. Let me know if you want me to do a solo video talking about Dune or any of those books because I really enjoy them, and I will sit here defending them for an hour if you'd like me to. Tell me what you read down in the comments this month. Did you have a good reading month or a bad one? Let me know. And tell me what you're going to read next month because I'm already out of books to read. Not really. But I don't know what to read next. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!